What's up guys? Today's video is on the top 5 best PC controllers in 2022. Through extensive research and testing, I've put together a list of options that'll meet the needs of different types of buyers, so whether it's price performance or its particular use, we've got you covered. For more information on the products, I've included links in the description box down below, which are updated for the best prices. Like the video, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Let's get started. Starting our list of reviews with number 5, Scuf Instinct Pro, the best alt pad outside of Microsoft and Sony in 2022. Scuf doesn't mess around with its controllers, offering some of the best premium pads outside of Sony and Microsoft. And the Instinct Pro is the absolute best Microsoft-focused pad controller should you wish to eschew the two big bois of the console world. But when the Elite Series 2 opens in new tab, exists in the world, how does anyone else compete in the enthusiast controller space? There are more customization options on offer with the Instinct Pro than with pretty much any other pad you could name. Scuf is offering a huge variety of different cosmetic and physical customization options from the initial store page. The faceplate options, and the rings around the thumbsticks, are the most obvious, but you also get to pick your choice of actual thumbsticks in terms of length and topper, convex or concave. Scuf has at least acknowledged there's little point trying to one-up Microsoft when it comes to the overall design of the Instinct Pro, because it looks physically identical to a standard Xbox Series X controller. There are also options to change the D-pad, button facades, as well as the styling of both the bumpers and the triggers. Interestingly, there is also the option to remove the rumble motors from inside the controller, which is something you'll often find the pros end up removing from their tournament controllers, to cut down on the inherent distraction of hand wobble. Though that will definitely impact the price. With my own choices I managed to bump the cost up to just shy of $250. But did create a gloriously pink pad without the distraction of rumble packs. Scuf has at least acknowledged there's little point trying to one-up Microsoft when it comes to the overall design of the Instinct Pro, because it looks physically identical to a standard Xbox Series X controller. Obviously, aside from the faceplate, rings, and mute button on the front, the thumbsticks are reassuringly solid and responsive during gaming a session. Hammering the sticks with quick switches of direction in a Twitch game haven't had an impact on the pad, and they still feel smooth and accurate when you're in something less fast-paced. The triggers have a pleasing action too, maybe not quite so deep as the Elite, but still just as accurate. The rest of the button feel is robust and reassuringly clicky too, though I would say the hair trigger mode feels a little too shallow for my tastes. But I can see where some folk might prefer it, so I'm not going to count that as anything more than personal choice, not a negative. The Scuf Instinct Pro requires AA batteries, like standard Xbox pads, unlike the Elite which houses a lithium-ion battery. The ability to swap in a fresh pair of batteries mid-tournament is potentially a selling point, and lithium-ion batteries are meant to have a finite shelf life. Though it's not something I've ever experienced with my Elite pad in the past few years of use. Either way, it's a fantastic controller that feels great in the hand and is as responsive as you could wish for. It's just painfully pricey with all my chosen greebles. Moving to the next at number 4 is the Sony DualSense Wireless Controller, the most impressive gamepad around in 2022. The PlayStation 5 DualSense has a you have to touch it to believe it quality, thanks to its new haptic motors and adaptive triggers, which can offer resistance under your finger. Firing a bow can actually feel like firing a bow. The rumble is also easily the best and most nuanced we've ever felt in a controller. It really is as good as people say. The bad news, the DualSense's most advanced features don't work in PC games yet, since games will need to be programmed to take advantage of them. But Steam already offers full support for the controller, so it's at least a breeze to plug in and use like any other pad. It's a hair less comfortable than the Xbox Series X controller, and not as simple to use in non-Steam games, but if you prefer Sony's analog stick layout or love gyro aiming, this is the one to get. And maybe someday we'll see PC games take advantage of those new triggers and haptics too. Next at number 3, we have the Xbox Wireless Controller, the most reliable gamepad in 2022. The original Xbox One wireless controller was a staple for PC gaming. With the Xbox Series SX release, we were all curious to see how Xbox improved on an already killer gamepad. This controller retains a lot of what we loved about the original. Keeping it very comfortable overall design with texturized rubber grips makes you feel extremely great in your hands. Much like the original, it boasts a vastly superior D-pad that you won't dread using in fighting games and platformers, taking cues from the Xbox One Elite series controllers. You might have noticed a new button in the center of the controller. A much requested share button now lets you capture screenshots and gameplay footage without diving too much into the menus. We capitalize wireless for a reason, not because the word is a proper noun per se, but because the Xbox Wireless Controller of late leverages Microsoft's wireless protocol it calls Xbox Wireless. Though the name could benefit from some creative workshopping, you can take solace in the fact that, after 2016, the Xbox Wireless Controller graces us with a much-needed helping of Bluetooth compatibility. And now it's practically standard fare for console transplants deterred by the learning curve mouse and keyboard gaming presence. Up next, we have the PowerA Spectra Infinity Enhanced, the best budget PC controller in 2022. PowerA's Spectra Infinity Enhanced wired controller is a step up over the Spectra Enhanced we used to rate in this guide. The latest version has more similarities to the Xbox Series XS controller, not too surprising since the Spectra is an official Xbox licensed product, though it has notably more bright lights. It's a pretty swanky controller nowadays, considering its budget price. I compared the Spectra and an official Xbox One controller while playing all the usual suspects like Call of Duty, Warzone and Mortal Kombat 11. And found that the joysticks are almost the same amount of tension and even the face buttons had similar feel when you press down on them. The button layout is nearly identical to an Xbox One controller, even down to the same texturized rubber on the joysticks, and the two extra programmable buttons in the back of the controller are well placed right around the grip. They're reachable via your ring fingers, so you don't have to change your grip when playing. The three-way trigger locks are great for competitive shooters, but although it's a nice feature, they didn't feel all that different regardless of where you set the lock. Unlike the Series 2. The Spectra would have scored higher, but the lack of any wireless connectivity is a big letdown in the days of untethered gaming. Instead, it comes with a 10 feet snap-lock detachable micro USB cable that's a little overkill for playing at a desk, but great if you're using it in the living room. It's a shame it isn't wireless, but that sweet edge lighting and extra programmable buttons might be a decent compromise for $40, especially if you'd rather not deal with batteries but need a controller to give your little brother. Finally, we have the Xbox Elite Wireless Controller Series 2, the best wireless gaming controller in 2022. If you use the Microsoft Elite Series 2 controller for more than 10 minutes, you'll understand why we have it at the number 1 spot. Everything about the Series 2 screams luxury. The near-endless customization options give you an unparalleled level of control, pun intended, over your gameplay. Being able to tweak all aspects of the controller, like D-pads, shift paddles, and joystick tension, is an absolute godsend. The most significant changes in the Series 2 over the Series 1, which we also loved, include a neat little carrying case that doubles as a portable USB Type-C powered charging station for the controller's new rechargeable battery, which has around 40 hours of juice. Finally, with Project Cloud and Apple Arcade bringing some great games to mobile devices, you can easily pair the Series 2 controller via Bluetooth. You now have a market-leading PC controller and something that'll pair with a phone. It comes with a bunch of custom bits, 6 thumbsticks, 2 D-pads, cross-shaped and faceted, 4 rear pedals and 1 tool for adjustable thumbstick tension. The Series 1's surprising lack of Bluetooth is something that drew major criticism, but thanks to the Series 2 adopting Bluetooth, you now have a market-leading PC controller and something that'll pair with a phone to play the Apple Arcade offerings or mess around Xbox streaming. It makes the controller that much more versatile, which is essential given the high price of admission. The returning hair trigger locks are still among one of my favorite things about the Elite. For those who haven't used them, they control how far you need to pull the trigger, so there's no wasted effort or time in competitive shooters, where milliseconds matter. The 4 additional back paddles are a neat feature too and can make for some interesting controller layouts. Never want to take your thumbs off of the thumbsticks? Simply assign the face buttons to the back paddles and you're good to go. In fact, the extreme flexibility of the Series 2 has the additional benefit of making the controller highly accessible, meaning that more people can use it to play PC games. Some people might find the more hefty controller a bit jarring at first since it's heavier than the standard Xbox One controller by a few ounces. And while it's nice to swap out the standard D-pad, both the cross and faceted alternative D-pads take some getting used to, especially in fighting games like Dragon Ball FighterZ or Mortal Kombat 11. Spending $160 for a controller is a tough sell for most people. That's near 4 times the price of an Xbox One controller, but if you're a serious gamer who values performance and extreme levels of customization, the Series 2 is a no-brainer and worth every penny. Thanks for watching. For more details, follow the links given below in the description section, and if you are new here, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon.